Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another video. I'm sorry there's no Asphalt 9 video this week. There just wasn't anything particularly interesting going on that I really wanted to cover or anything like that. And I'm sure if you wanted to find some videos, there are plenty of other channels out there covering things like the Inferno and some of the other cars with the fire and lightning season. But today I have a bit of a different video. I went back and over the past year or so, I've kind of gotten back into Modern Combat Versus, which is interesting because the last video I did on it was talking about the 10th update and how it basically overcomplicated the game by adding things like armor and a bunch of other stuff. And I talked about the new map that they had and just some other things that were added. And since then, the original developers, which was Gameloft Montreal, have been moved on, I think, to other projects, or I think that studio has been shut down. I'm not entirely sure. If anyone knows what's actually going on with Gameloft Montreal, I'd love to know, because they are probably the best Gameloft studio in my opinion, and I would really like to know what happened. But what I do know is that a lot of the Modern Combat Versus developers, they went on to other developers, they went on to other projects. I know some went to Ubisoft, which is very close by, so that kind of makes sense. And so it's very disappointing to see them leave, but at the same time, I would rather them go on to a developer that seems like they give more care and thought into the games rather than Gameloft. But anyway, this is about Modern Combat Versus in 2021, because they did, I think, move the development to another, Gameloft studio. I'm not exactly sure which one, but there are, updates for this game, and there have been quite significant additions to this game since Gameloft Montreal were no longer in charge. So I want to talk about that stuff and my experience. So the biggest thing in my opinion was the ability to have different guns for agents. Now, I don't know if any of you guys remember, but way back during the soft launch of this game, there were menu items that you couldn't access but you could see, and that they said they were working on. One of those was the ability to switch weapons. There was like a menu that said weapons on it for each agent, and I guess it took them 4 years or something like that to finally add different weapons for agents. So for example, Ghost has now a double-barreled shotgun that you can unlock besides just his normal shotgun, and this is really awesome. I think it makes the game feel more like Modern Combat rather than like some weird Overwatch clone. And the only gun so far that I've unlocked has been Ghost's double-barreled shotgun. That's just because I haven't been playing too often. They do bring events around every couple of days where you can earn blueprints for a new weapon. So eventually you can actually get most of these weapons free to play as long as you have that agent, for those weapons, which is awesome. And of course you can buy weapon blueprints, from crates from the shop, which was kind of expensive because you're not guaranteed to get any blueprints from the drop, so it's kind of up to chance. But the fact that they have a rotation on, it's kind of similar to how car hunts work in Asphalt 9. So I got Ghost's shotgun over the course of the past month or two, and it was just casually playing with him when the event came up and acquiring the blueprints, and it was awesome. So overall, I think that is a positive change. And there's also been a bunch of customization stuff, I believe. They've added new weapon camos, and they've added new jerseys and things like that. I'm not quite sure in terms of cosmetics exactly what they've added, since Montreal was no longer in development, so I can't exactly go over everything like that. But what I do know is that they've also added 2 new agents. One I think is called Witch, and the other is Blip, or Blee P. I'm just gonna call her Blip. She's a robot that shoots out darts, I guess, like a nail gun, and they do slow poison damage over time after you shoot the enemy. It doesn't do a lot of damage, up front with the bullet, but of course you get that added effect of the poison. And her ability is a drone that follows you around, and for every shot of damage that you do to other enemies, it gives you back a percentage of health, and for any other allies that are within the zone of that drone, which is kind of the way that Hashtag is his name. And man, it's been a while since I've remembered all these agents and stuff, so forgive me if I have to take a moment to realize what different names are. But overall, I've only gotten this agent to I think level 20 or something like that. And so for me, this agent is very underpowered at the moment, but I can definitely see the potential, and it's a lot of fun and it's a good addition. Not anything game breaking or meta changing, which is what I like when it comes to agent additions. Like nothing that will completely, change the face of the game, but will just make a nice addition, which is what I think Blip is. And so, so far it's been really fun to play with Blip, but I'm not going to really go very far until I upgrade the agent. But next I want to talk about armor, because this is something that I talked about in that update video, and I was like, this is crazy, this is so needlessly complicated. And again, we don't really know like exactly what the effects have been, because there's just so many variables that go into this, because you could have different tiers of armor and then you can upgrade that armor. And I'm not gonna lie, I still don't fully understand how this system works. Of course, you need to upgrade your agent to unlock the slots to put the armor into it, and you need to upgrade or unlock the armor in the first place in order to equip it to an agent. So yeah, you need the armor, and then you need the slot to put the armor in. So there's more progression, there's more grinding, and of course and the times 10 upgrade versus the regular upgrade, like I can't notice a difference between that, but of course it's a chance thing and it might fail. And I know I said that even if these stats, these upgrades are like 1.2%, 3%, they add up. And what I've noticed over the past year of playing is that a lot of people have become very, very powerful. Like I'll be level 33, and I'll talk about the leveling system in a second because that also is a bit of a problem, but I'll be going up against the same agent as I am, and even though they're only a couple levels ahead of me, they absolutely steamroll me even if we start shooting each other at the same time. And either it's because of the bunch of upgrades that armor gives you, or it's that leveling system, which if you didn't know, every time you upgrade your level, your agents overall get an increase in health and damage. And I believe it's only 0.25 percent of an increase every level, but of course if you're 10 or 15 levels behind someone else, that can make a huge difference. And so what I've noticed is a lot of things that I've talked about previously, where you can go up against someone and it's really just who has the higher level, who has the better agent, and that person is probably going to come out on top, which is very unfortunate. And every time I play this game, I mean, now I definitely play it more casually. I'm not in a clan anymore or anything like that, and I don't play competitively or like try hard or anything like that. I play more casually, and it has definitely been more fun that way, because I'm not always like trying to look at every corner and have my reaction time be on point. And as you'll see, I am actually pretty rusty because I haven't played this game competitively for a very long time, but it's just been a bit more fun playing pretty laid back. But even still, you definitely notice the balance issues and the core issues of the game, like the weird animation system. And the big thing I noticed was the netcode still isn't that great. I get shot around corners a lot of the time, or I get behind a corner and I die because the ping is too high, or the connection is just bad and the netcode isn't keeping up properly. So yeah, that's still a very big issue with this game. And I've noticed that some of the maps still don't work very well. Like, I believe in that update video, I talked about the destroyed stadium map and how that didn't work out very well, and it still doesn't play very well at all. But I've definitely been having more fun over time, especially when acquiring the guns, and the economy is still really not that great. There's still a lot of grinding because you need those tokens to upgrade your agents, but you can't get tokens without having some agents in the first place, and you need to play a lot to get them. And of course, those upgrades for your agent coincide with your leveling system, which is why basically the more agents you get and the more upgrades for those agents you get, the more powerful your agents get. And so it's like a snowball effect. And so if you go up against someone who's been playing this game for a very long time, or they have a very high level than you, it's like an exponential increase that they have of damage and health over you, which is not very fair in my opinion. So yeah, and again, this could be down to the fact that maybe the player base isn't so big, so that's why you get those unfair matches where you have people of different levels. But like I said, as I've been playing this, I've been having a bit more fun with it, and I'm still sad about this game's what I would consider wasted potential, because back in the day when there was a small competitive scene, there were like small tournaments going on, nothing major, just kind of groups coming together to play against each other. And when everyone had, a similar ability level and whatnot. And when you really got into the meat and potatoes of the game, there was a really good potential for a solid mobile competitive shooter. And it's just disappointing that they had to ruin it with all of these very complicated upgrade systems, and the fact that there's like 5 or 6 different currencies, and the fact that you need to, you know, pay diamonds in order to unlock different agents, and so not everyone has access. And yes, I know that you can set up a tournament where everyone has equal access to all these things. The problem is you have to start somewhere, and I don't think if someone, you know, starts the game, they load it up for the first time, they're immediately going into these hyper competitive custom lobbies where everyone is the same. They're going to be playing casual matchmaking and leveling up until, you know, they get to the point where they realize they're pretty good at the game and maybe they want to pursue something more competitive. And that's the problem, is that it was locked behind the very dedicated player base already, and so the point of entry was just not quite there. So it was a pretty massive disappointment to see this game, you know, sort of fall behind the wayside of other games like COD Mobile and PUBG Mobile, because I think this game could have definitely made a name for itself if it kept its original competitive roots and just tried to keep simplifying it and polish it, because this game does definitely need more polishing. Like it definitely feels like it's still like a beta version of a game. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on Modern Combat Versus in 2021 in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.